And welcome to Nerd Stalker. I am Adolfo Ferranda at Nerd Stalker at A Ferranda on Twitter with my buddy and co-host
Greg Bloor, hey K Social Greg on Twitter. Hey man, happy Labor Day weekend. We're
Happy Labor Day
working.
weekend. Yeah, as of this recording, as me and Greg were saying before the show, not the biggest tech week, but
No,
we found some goodies, some good
we got
ones for
things
you
to talk
guys
about.
to talk
Hey,
about.
if Leo Laporte could talk 2 hours
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
it's
show,
incredible.
we
Well,
could
he's a radio
1 minute.
god, so he can. Yeah,
Well, I know
he's
we're not comparing ourselves, of course.
trained. I guess Greg is too. So
Oh, the famous Adolfo
wind him up, let him go.
sommelier. We
Wind
talk
Greg
about
up
wine.
and let him go.
All right, dude. Let's
What
talk
do we got
about.
going? SF New Tech? What's happening
Yeah,
here?
welcome to the future is coming on September 19th, a week from, or a couple weeks from Labor Day, the 19th, and they have some two famous. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Would you call these guys famous? Gary Shapiro. Yeah, from
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say he's
Whatever.
famous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Too well known. Let's say well known.
well known, I guess. Any Grignon from partner at Siberia, San Francisco. Okay, he was a lead engineer on the iPhone development.
Nice.
so, so I
Yeah,
guess they're
big
gonna
deal.
be they're both futurists, as Miles Weisslater of SF New Tech says, and both have unique ninja insights on what's going on in the corner. So. Come see it at the new digs of Kovo at 981 Mission, San Francisco. So get your tickets. You'll see it on our event page there to sign up for Miles's event, which we always support. So
Yeah. Very
anyway,
nice. Very nice. All right. What
yeah,
else we got here? We got Dreamforce. Yeah.
yeah.
Dreamforce
Talk about
16.
Dreamforce. Yes.
That's going to be in lovely San Francisco, October 4th through 7th at Moscone Center and everywhere, actually, all over the city. It's amazing. U2, the band U2, is actually going to play it. The full conference is sold out. Check it out. Full conference is sold out. That's news to me. So if you got a code, apparently you can register, but it is sold out, people. Tony Robbins, Mark Benioff, of course. We got some other important bigwigs speaking here. Let's see who we got here. Yeah, Melinda Gates, Mary T. Barra, Congressman John Lewis, CEO of Red, Deborah Dugan,
Nice.
Chris Sacca,
Nice.
Mark Cuban. It goes on and on. Billie Jean King. Holy cow. NASA
Really,
astronaut Captain Scott Kelly and his brother Mark Kelly. So very exciting stuff. All you business people, educators, marketers, technologists, everyone. Including model Christy Turlington. That alone is worth it. Be there. October 4th through 7th. It is sold out. Sorry, people. But I'm sure there's other events around, and you might be able to wiggle your way in. See you there at
Go to a
Dreamforce. We're
party.
super
Go to
excited
a
about that.
Dreamforce party. You'll make
Yeah,
connections there. If you're not
very
working.
excited. So what's going on
So
here?
hey,
IoT.
well, we're media partners again for the I don't know fourth time this year of an event called this time the IoT Tech Expo North America 2016. That's a mouthful, but they have a
Nice.
mouthful of events in IoT. So yeah, we're happy to support these guys and. Catch them at the Santa Clara Convention Center in the Silicon Valley,
Caterpillar,
October 20th to
Adidas, and
21st.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you want to know a little bit more about IoT, they have some pretty good events set up. We're going to be writing about a couple of these things as it comes up, and you know, there's a couple notables there as you just shown, and get your discount with Nerd20. That's the other benefit from
Nerd
being a
20.
Nerd Stalker podcast listener and viewer. You get a Nerd20 discount from the IT Tech Expo North America 2016. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whew.
So that's IoTTechExpo.com. Go check it out.
Yes.
Internet of
Thank you.
Things. Very
Yes.
nice. Very nice. And the next dealie we have here on the show notes here is Mile
Mile
IQ. Our
IQ.
buddies at Mile IQ. And I always forget our code, so I need to see if I can see it.
Nerdstalker.
Nerdstalker20. So use
Yeah.
Nerdstalker20 for our code. Check it out. Mile IQ, automatic detection, one swipe classification, mile logging. So it's great for anyone who consultants, photographers, anyone that travels and doesn't want to keep track of your mileage. And this app will automatically do it for you and helps you. Accountants love this. You can submit this stuff to your company's payroll or accountants guy or woman, and they will in this makes it easy for you, so you don't have to track any of that stuff, and you can deduct and get reimbursed and all that stuff that you want to do. So use MileIQ and use our code. Again, I believe it's Nerdstalker.
Nice. I'm going to download that tomorrow again.
Wow. How ironic. We got like double 20s here.
I know.
And
exactly.
the next one is Sawyer Som. Check out the Sawyer Som podcast that I am doing with Chris Sawyer, sommelier to the stars. Really incredibly knowledgeable. And I know he just did a sommelier all-stars, and I believe it was in Santa Rosa and Sonoma County. Nice. All these famous sommeliers together talking about amazing wines. And if you're a wine connoisseur, check it out, SawyerSom.com. Check out the podcast on YouTube, the Sawyer Som podcast.
Nice. Thanks for helping out with that.
Get the show on the road, my friend.
Let's do it. Picks of the week. Let's talk about VC Performance Report. What's going on there, man?
Boom. So yeah, thanks to Wall Street Journal for this one. If I could get Andreessen's big head there on the screen. How about that? So Wall Street Journal is claiming that Andreessen Horowitz, which is a venture capitalist firm, has been lagging behind other funds such as Sequoia and Founders, right? So the claim is that is an analysis of its returns compared with funds from top rivals and industry averages show that Andreessen Horowitz hasn't yet earned its reputation as an elite firm, so they say. What's interesting, too, is the other firms typically take like 20%, and Andreessen Horowitz takes 30%. And so there's some question as to why, they do that, given these numbers that are coming by. So the firm is co-funded by a web pioneer, Mark Andreessen, in 2009, is routinely mentioned among the top, investors like Sequoia, a status that allows it to command higher fees, supposedly, right? So Sequoia has separated itself from the pack thanks to its consistent high returns. Its 2003, 2006 VCs have both risen eightfold net of fees, according to a person familiar with the matter. The first bet on LinkedIn Corporation and YouTube, and the second on Airbnb and Dropbox. Sequoia's 2010 fund is up 5.5 times, and unlike other venture funds that are mostly sitting on paper gains, has been able to generate massive cash returns, mostly after the WhatsApp sale, which funded, which they purchased for $22 billion by Facebook. So that was a huge windfall. Another, venture firm Benchmark has multiplied investors' money 11 times net of fees in its 2011 fund. According to a person familiar with its performance, it includes a blockbuster investment like Uber and Snapchat. Founders Fund, co-funded by Peter Thiel, posted solid returns thanks to the bets on space exploration tech, Palantir Technologies Incorporated, and Airbnb. So its 2007 fund has increased in value by nearly 7 times net of fees, according to people familiar with its fund. And they're both up about 3.6 times. Since its founding through last year, Andreessen Horowitz had returned a total of $1.2 billion in cash to investors, net of fees. Sequoia returned more money on WhatsApp alone. Benchmark's gains in Uber and Snapchat remain on paper. A spokesman for Andreessen Horowitz declined to comment, and of course, right? So, but those guys are saying that it's not a fair thing, and the journal has it wrong because they're valuing illiquid private companies, and the actual paper value versus cash value is what they're saying isn't really fair. So there's a lot of questions being raised and a lot of numbers and complications when you get into this VC world, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
With these guys, but Andreessen Horowitz, they have a ton of money these in terms of valuation of these companies.
Right. Well, I think anyone knows that this is the prior to May of 2016 this year, right? This is the rich person's game, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
These funds, right? All of these guys have pretty high equity portfolios themselves, right? Who are putting their money into Andreessen Horowitz, right? So, but I think, Jake, I guess just to be fair, again, so is Sequoia, Benchmark, and Founders, right? So
yeah, and these other VCs, because what they seem to be doing now is they're getting investment money from pensioner funds and all these other these types of monies that are coming into these VC funds now. as a sort of an investment sort of product, right? A mainstream investment product. So they're getting some public money too sometimes, and also or private money as well in that capacity. But it's really interesting to see this game of people who are actually, these big sales are making big cash returns, but a lot of these companies haven't, or these startups, these large startups, haven't cashed out yet or been acquired cash wise. So some of these VC firms are sitting on potentially, piles of money, but they're not getting that actual cash valuation return quite yet. Andreessen Horowitz, I know those guys are claiming that, as a VC, it's a long game and not a short game, which is debatable. But that's sort of one of the, pieces of their justification for why they're not as quote unquote profitable or whatever, or as these other funds that are listed. But the interesting thing to me was that, 30 versus 20% take that they're taking from startups.
That's the kicker there, right? I mean,
30%
reminds me of the Apple cuts, right? The Apple apps and music cuts, right? 30%. So I don't know.
A number, if you guys want to go check it out, there's a lot more graphs and numbers to this whole story. WSJ, we're not going to get into it because it's totally insane, but it's a very interesting read. So check it out. All right, Greg, what do you got?
Well, we haven't talked about the EFF, which is the Electronic Frontier Foundation, but they released a statement this week, press release. And EFF told the court, government must inform people that it's accessing their emails and personal data. And what this alludes to is, this ongoing case where Microsoft is in a lawsuit challenging portions of the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. And that allows the Department of Justice to serve a warrant on a company to get access to their customer emails. I mean, you heard this through Apple and all this other stuff, right? I mean, and other information stored on remote servers, all without telling users their data and being searched. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you today, Adolfo. As a person, I know I sign all these waivers. I sign them all. I mean, because I want to use the app, so I'm kind of stuck. But I sign all the waivers. Technically, my data, even though it's personal, belongs to, Twitter or Facebook or whatever you want to call it. So, how does this all work in your mind? I mean, it's an interesting point, and EFF could say this, but practically, how does it really work, right? Is the government going to tell Twitter, well, okay, we're about to take all your data, but you have to notify all your people that you were giving them data that were taking the data, It's weird.
It's weird, man. I can almost understand it when it comes to something that we take so personally, like emails, especially if we're signing up with some sort of secure email service or something, that's not like a Gmail or a Yahoo Mail that you're paying for, excuse me. Then I could see that, because it'd be weird if these services are like climbing into there somehow and sort of reading your emails and using it in some sort of algorithmic way in order to sell it, whatever. But we've talked about this time and time again. I have the attitude that nothing is private, really. If it's online or in the cloud or what, as you will, then it's accessible to someone potentially. It is accessible.
Yeah, it is accessible. I agree.
So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because I can see the concern. I mean, if you're emailing your family about personal, sensitive, perhaps medical, an issue that you're going through or something, or your family's going through that you're experiencing or something like that, you would hope that it's just private between you two. So it can get tricky.
Well, this is a philosophy thing, right? I think in their press release this week that I caught, staff attorney Li Tian said that when electronic searches are done in secret, interesting food for thought here, we lose our right to challenge the legality of law enforcement invasions of privacy. So the Fourth Amendment doesn't allow that. and it's time for the government to step up and respect the Constitution. So, there's a lot of positioning going on here. I don't know where it's gonna, but I agree with you. What my brother has done is that he's never gone smartphone, and he stayed with his flip phone, and he just doesn't do any of the services. So that's how he maintains his privacy. To your point, right? Yeah. To your point that if you're going to use these apps that are supplied by a third party, being the phone being your first party, and yourself,
But the flip side of what I was talking about was, I do find value in it. Oftentimes when I'm going to, say I'm using Chrome, for instance, or something like that, and I'm going to a Suicide Squad, the movie that came out, website or article or something like that, and then I open up another tab or close that window and I start typing S. Maybe I'm interested in the cast or something. It'll show Suicide Squad cast or something, as if it's read my mind, right? Like it scanned the article that I just read or whatever, and it's gleaning some smart, that, and it's making it easier for me, to be quite frank, right? Google's doing this, right? But perhaps any other service could do that. I could be jumping to Facebook, and it would probably know as well, oh, Adolfo was on this particular Suicide Squad website. Perhaps I should show him,
some ads on Facebook.
Suicide Squad, related stuff or something like that. So maybe there's some value there. And I've gained value from that before, right? But particularly in the Chrome scenario. But again, with the email sensitivity, there's two sides of the coin, it's tricky.
Yeah, interesting. Check it out. We may post it this week just so you guys have access to it. But there's a press release from EFF, and it's on their website as well. So just check out EFF.org press and on releases, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Anyway, moving on.
All right, so I'd like to thank eWeek for this one, and Daryl K. Taft. This one's kind of deep, pardon the pun, but sort of interesting. I think this week is kind of like that in terms of stories with the Wall Street Journal story. Now this one, so Baidu open sources PaddlePaddle, which is a deep learning platform. So at its Baidu Open World Conference in Beijing, Baidu announced its open source PaddlePaddle deep learning technology. Baidu, the provider of the leading search engine in China. A lot of people don't know this. Baidu is a massive, massive company, tech company in China, has open source PaddlePaddle, as we said.
Huge.
And they've set up shop in Silicon Valley, in Sunnyvale, where the company is acting like a born on the web neighbors, and open sourcing core tech to share with the community. PaddlePaddle is now on GitHub with full documentation and specs. PaddlePaddle opens up technology widely used by Baidu to programmers looking for easy to learn and easy to use tools to build their own deep learning applications. The company announced the open sourcing of PaddlePaddle at its Baidu World Conference. PaddlePaddle is an interface for data handling and specifying model structures for developers to apply deep learning and cognitive computing technology to their applications. Baidu has used it to add cognitive elements to its variety of products, including its advertising, search ranking, large-scale image classifications, and OCR, optical character recognition, and machine translation solutions. Now, this is just the beginning, because those specific use cases that I just mentioned are rather rudimentary, that we would still sort of expect to see it, but now we're seeing in all kinds of other things like medical and financial is sort of where it seems to be going to now, and this will help it make this sort of deep learning technology easier for your general developer to start leveraging this type of really hardcore type of stuff, technology that they used to not really have in their sort of toolkit or in their skill set. And so Baidu, by making this open source, it's a really huge sort of understated type of thing that is an opportunity for developers to leverage. So they said we can start applying these capabilities to solve the grand challenges of AI, one of which is intelligent machines as well. So one of the intelligent machines we would like to build in the future is a self-driving car. So now Baidu is talking about that too, so they got a lot of really interesting stuff happening here. Another really interesting sort of mention in the article here that I really picked up on is, indeed, machine learning is the study of computer algorithms that provide computer programs with the ability to learn, discover, predict, and improve automatically using large amounts of data without explicit programming. So it's a very quick sort of sentence with a lot in it, but it's a very, very telling sentence right there, because it's machine learning. So the study of algorithms that provide computer programs with the ability to learn, discover, predict, and improve itself automatically without a programmer, without programming.
It's crazy.
So this is the type of stuff I keep trying to emphasize with people, and programmers and white collar employees. Like, this is where we're going, and it's super interesting, and we're in its infancy. As we said right now earlier in the article, we mentioned our advertising, right? That kind of stuff. And that's what I'm calling it, although it's very elegant and it's just advertising, right? So it's sort of rudimentary, in my opinion. When we're getting to that kind of interesting type of behavioral, programming or technologies, that's where it gets really cool.
Yeah, Baidu, I don't know if everyone knows these guys. I like them to the Google of China, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
Effectively, yeah.
Right. I mean, the search is the big thing there in China for them, and as well as other things. And so, I mean, they are the Google of China, and so I this type of thing is just gonna help accelerate them even more, right?
Especially everyone too, because it's open source, so
that's amazing, actually.
For the
that's
whole
pretty
field
amazing
overall, and for the field of deep learning technologies, if you will.
Right.
But let's get out of the deep and get into the sound. What's happening?
All right. Well, Sonos made some announcements this week. I think they were a little bit ho-hum because of everyone talking about Apple next week, quite frankly. But there were two announcements that Sonos made. Basically, they're opening up their speakers to Spotify's app, which is kind of amazing to me. Amazing that it hasn't happened sooner, actually. So that one was really interesting. And so, thanks to Craig Welch for that. I appreciate that. And the other announcement they made, which we'll talk about a little bit more because Adolfo's a Alexis user, they're bringing Amazon's Alexis voice assistant tech to their connected speakers. So this is interesting, actually. I know it was a little bit ho-hum in the press. Not too many people wrote about it, but I thought this was interesting for Sonos because they were always about trying to curate and license music their own way, in a way,
right.
To make it very experiential, which they are, right? But now they're just saying, okay, it's almost like we know where this is going. Either, we better jump on the Amazon bandwagon and get on this and curated music with Spotify because every one of our users are out there is on these two platforms,
Right.
I don't know. What do you think about? I mean, is that is it a big benefit for Spotify? I'm not sure, but Alexa, I think, is a big deal, right?
How so? What do you mean?
Well, I'm thinking that Sonos is this experiential thing in room to room, right? So having Spotify, okay, maybe I'll take that back. I thought maybe Spotify would just give them a little bit more variety. Open up to users, subscriptions a little bit more, maybe get music they like more, but I'm not sure how the algorithms are going to work with that. So that's going to be interesting. And
I think, in terms
of
hardware for Sonos itself, I think it's important them to have access, open access for everyone. Yeah. So I'm not sure if that was on Sonos's end or Spotify's end. I would imagine that was probably a Spotify's end for some sort of licensing or something like that.
Sure.
Which I still don't understand because you got Apple Music, you've got the Amazon Echo, the Amazon infrastructure or whatever, and then you have Google Play, we have all these other SoundClouds, we have Last FMs, we have all these other services that are coming in. The big one that is coming in, as you mentioned, I think, is Amazon, and Google's obviously a big player, and Apple's a massive already preeminent player as well. So for Spotify not to be available on the Sonos or wasn't being available on the Sonos is kind of ridiculous. And it should be available on every single thing, in my opinion. I think this is sort of the sort of Microsoft move, right? Where they're pivoting in the correct direction of being available on everything. They've sort of learned that lesson of sort of catering to one or specific different,
No, that's a good point. Well, like you're a Alexa, Echo user, right? I mean,
right. Let's call it Echo for now, because
let's say, yeah, let's just say Alexa,
word,
Echo
it's
user.
triggering
Yeah.
everyone's
Yeah, I know.
echoes
Sorry.
right now.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So you're an Echo user, and and Sonos is this kind of, like I said, room to room experiential music thing, right? I mean,
Yeah,
however you want to call this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the idea is, let's take this scenario out, right? I have Sonos in my living room, kitchen, and so I'm listening to some other beats in my kitchen while I'm making dinner for my guests, or in the living room, or I'm waiting and just hang out, or football time or whatever, and they're listening to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Is the idea just in the middle of this to like talk to Sonos and say, hey, find me some new music from blah blah blah, and that comes up, I guess?
Yeah, it's a weird segmented stage that we're in right now. Yeah, because I'm finding myself in that exact situation, right, where my Echo is in my kitchen, but it's an open area that's sort of open with my dining room and my living room, right? In my living room is where the Sonos is, next to the television, which will play, right? So when I talk to the Echo and ask it to play music, which I don't really do very much anymore, unless I'm super lazy or I need to be hands-free, and in order to do it, it's the speaker is way subpar compared to the Sonos, right? So whenever I try to play music, I'll pick up my phone and trigger it, from my phone in the kitchen, so I can hear my music on a good speaker. Primarily the Echo right now is, as I said, if I'm lazy to play some, lazy music, I need to be hands-free. If my hands are full of cooking, I've been cooking or whatever,
right?
Or just listening to some news, because they have a nice feature where you can do a flash briefing and you can listen to various news type of things. Or if I need to add shopping items, or the other features that the Echo provides, right? Basically having a microphone. If the Sonos had a microphone and had some sort of like Echo technology in it, that could be a potential, killer for the Echo itself, because you have or if Amazon comes out with an even superior speaker that's on par with the Sonos, that could be the end of the Sonos potentially. But then again, the partnerships are the things, right? So that means Amazon would need to open up to all these other competing music services, which oddly enough it does. I can play Spotify through it now. Not that I would want to, because again, my Sonos speaker is superior. So we're in this weird middle transition time where I have two devices in my house that kind of do the same thing, but they don't, you know what I mean? And so I have to use one for one scenario and then the other for the other scenario. So we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, that's that interesting problem, right? Of this, the user's desire for interconnectivity of devices.
Yeah,
like you're saying, this kind of middle ground we're in now.
Yeah.
To having companies proprietary, IP open sourced or shared now, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Wow, you're right. We're in this weird middle ground. Kind of interesting, because we all want this interconnectivity, whether it's sports, IoT, wearables, to what you just described, which was a great scenario. I didn't even think about that. You live in a Eichler, so everything's an open field.
And a lot of homes do have that sort of like that dining room kitchen open area, right? So they find themselves in that situation, or perhaps like in a television room, like near open area as well, which is a very common sort of layout. But another scenario too that we're finding ourselves in is things with all these lighting solutions, right? So there's Wemo, Hughes, and so the same thing sort of happening is like with these different hubs. Do these hubs interact with other devices, and then do they play with IFT correctly and stuff? So and do we need all these different things, and do we need switches on them? But what if the wife doesn't have an app and I have the app to turn a light on and off, and and all the silliness? So we're in this weird stage where it's like the first step in the IoT thing has sort of the first lay, the products are sort of out there now, but now we're finding all these, the first step and all this stuff and the interplay And it seems like the best way to go is to come out with the best type of hardware that you can / UI, right? And with the most partnerships as possible, the most interaction as possible. Whoever does that correctly, in my opinion, is going to win. Instead of these sort of closed-in IoT solutions, leveraging IFT, or something like that.
I think that's why the biggies are going to get bigger. They're the ones that have the deep pockets to really offer that model that you just mentioned. And where startups have to be kind of this potential to be bought up by one of these big guys almost now. It's interesting. It's interesting. We're talking about the VC thing too. So, wow, great insight, Adolfo. I didn't think about that. Yeah, and we'll learn more about that at the IoT North America World. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to speed round.
All right. So I got an email the other day. I like reading my websites in a readable manner, right? Without all the Chrome and all the images and the ads and stuff. Sometimes I just want to read the article because I find it really difficult for myself to read online with all these distracting things because I go to the shiny things all the time and I just can't focus, right? Sure. And so I used to use something like Evernote had, I think it was called Clearly, an app that they sort of Google add-on that they discontinued. And so I abandoned that and discontinuing support for that, right? And then I went to another solution called Readability. Let me share my screen here. Readability. There are a ton of Readability users out there because they would do things like the whole sort of bookmarking type of thing, and it was sort of like where you could store your bookmarks online and all this stuff like that. And they also had a feature where you can read things clearly, right? Like this. So this was offered as an alternative I saw when I saw searches for when I did Google searches for Clearly alternative. But as you can see at the very top there, Readability bookmarking service will be shutting down September 30th. So another one bites the dust in terms of readers. So all you people out there, look for something else. I don't know what else I haven't Googled my next solution here. So if you have any tips out there, I would love to hear them because I am looking for a new reader. And I thought you Readability users should know that they are shutting down the bookmarking service, the whole deal on September 30th.
I use Feedly now, and that's the closest to Google Reader that I've found. But see, it still has images.
Do it on the fly though. So if I'm on this site,
I see.
Yeah, I click something and I can read it. You know what I mean? I'm not repopulating some RSS feed or something like that. It's I sort of.
That's right. Basically, it's a one-to-one thing. Is that you see an article, you go away, do whatever you want, then come back to another article. Okay, I got it. So anyways, that's a good way to live.
Readability, people going down in planes.
That's a great way to live.
Thank you for your service. Speed round.
Okay, well, Google announced Project Ara in May, and now they just killed it. So you wanted a Lego-like phone? You can't have it now. Well, actually, that's not true. In the article below, 6 futuristic phone designs we're going to talk about in a little bit in the speed round. We'll show you another company that has something like that. But I was kind of like, I was like shocked. It brought a smile to my face that they were trying to do this actually. Thanks to John Brownlee from I think Fastco is Fastco Design. Great place to get a lot of articles. But Reuters reported this week that Google has killed Project Ara. Ambitious project to build fully modular smartphones with interchangeable components. According to the report, Project Ara, which Google is showing off recently as May at its annual I/O conference, was killed in part of a larger effort to consolidate the company's many different hardware projects, which is a business decision, aka business decision. Still, the writing retrospect was on the wall. Ara emerged out of Google's Advanced Technology and Products Group, the ATAP, in October 2013, which I didn't really know. But its launch was delayed till late 2015 when it discovered that the modular smartphones were breaking apart when dropped. So it's like dropping your Lego model.
I didn't even think of that. Humpty Dumpty.
And then,
Yeah.
it's like the eyes of your Humpty Dumpty popped out.
Yeah.
Now you put the eye back in.
Wow.
Hey, can you hold on? My speaker's on the ground right now. Can I? My microphone's on the ground. Can I put it back right now? Can you hold on? Anyway, it was just an interesting thing. But we'll talk about another one in a little bit with our speed round. But hey, this might be a good way for startups that we're actually doing this to kind of pick up the slack somehow. But anyway, rest in peace.
Yeah, that's a
Project
bummer.
Ara.
Yeah, I know there was high hopes for that one too. Everyone had a lot of high hopes. They were like, "Oh, such a great idea," and I forgot that Google purchased them, and it's a shame, But when I thought about it, I'm like, would I really go buy another component, this and that? I don't know,
Well, when we get to that another article down there, I'm gonna go talk about
deep.
that. There's some interesting takes. Okay,
right,
dude. SpaceX. Oh man, that was a bummer. All that Google stuff. Wow.
Yeah. So SpaceX, as you guys all heard, I know me and Greg haven't had an opportunity to talk about this one, so I wanted to talk about it. It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
The explosion that takes out Facebook's multi-million-dollar satellite. That's what everyone's talking about, right? But there was also mentioned that I think Elon Musk lost, God, I forget how much it was. It was some ridiculous amount of money in this one day this thing sort of went down. I believe the satellite alone was about $1 million, 700,000 or something like that, $1 million for that. And Zuckerberg was quoted on Thursday. His tweet said, "As I'm here in Africa, I'm deeply disappointed to hear," or his Facebook post, "I'm deeply disappointed to hear that SpaceX's launch failure destroyed our satellite that would have provided connectivity to so many entrepreneurs and everyone else across the continent. Fortunately, we have developed other technologies like Aquila that will connect people as well. We remain committed to our mission of connecting everyone, and we will keep working until everyone has the opportunity this satellite would have provided." And it's crazy. There's been talk about people been putting out footage of there was this weird thing that flew by, and they're like, "Oh, was that a UFO that zapped it?" Other people said it was a bird. If you look at this thing, it's really weird, man. And
man.
Anyways, it's too bad for SpaceX and Elon Musk. It's a huge setback. Sure.
Oh yeah, and that apparently why Facebook was sad about this is that it contained their internet.org satellite, right? I mean, their way of getting internet to a bunch of people in inaccessible places, right? And there's that interesting debate on that. I was reading earlier this year, PC World, and I just put out the article. You don't have to pull up the article, but it made claims that Facebook's internet.org was really a front for a business development exercise by one of its senior members.
Wow.
And I don't know. I just thought that was interesting, and the fact that this thing blew up, I was thinking tech karma going on, all this stuff going on in my head, going interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans going on, that we're starting to see. I don't know.
Oh man, yeah, but Dolph and I are very positive guys, so we don't want to see the negative in all these things.
No more negativity. We don't need
no more negativity. Okay. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for talking about that. That was a sad day. Anyway.
All right. 6 futuristic phone designs. What's going on here?
This is kind of cool. I saw it from Engadget this week. It's kind of nice not talking about the popular, since Apple's going to dominate the news next week. But Engadget ran this thing this last week, just this last Friday. Actually, yesterday, in fact. 6 futuristic phone designs, and the Project Ara phone is right on here.
Project Ara all over again.
Yeah. So anyway,
components.
Yeah. So anyway, they talk about the Nokia's e-copper phone or ECU phone that charges in your pocket with heat. I thought that was kind of cool. So basically, you just put the phone in your pocket and it charges itself through your body heat. The other one, let's go to phone blocks again. This kind of reminds me of Maker Faire, doesn't it? But it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And these guys have a modular component phone concept. I wouldn't say it's out in any stretch of the imagination, but it was a concept that many people are emulating right now. So, even Google isn't doing it, other people will be doing this thing. But their idea is that really their take is that we want to eliminate electronic waste. So instead of throwing the whole phone, let's just replace parts and pieces of it, with technology. If I want to upgrade my Wi-Fi to the latest Wi-Fi gadget, then you just buy a block instead of throwing out the whole phone. Yeah, it's admirable, And then, of course, Kyocera's waterproof, washable cell phone. I don't know if this is futuristic. I'm thinking like, Star Trek futuristic, right? I mean, but the fact that they are making these things NEMA certified, I guess you would call that. For all you whitewater sailors out there, rafters, all that stuff. Yeah, maybe that might be something you might want to look at. And then here's the recycle phone. Cool. This is purely conceptual, but basically this guy made this case out of glass and spent a long time piecing together, gutting out a phone and putting it into this concept, and then inside of it he filled it with grass. I mean, it was just amazing. Wow. Yeah, it was kind of cool, and I thought it was just a neat concept, right? But that's why this is a futuristic phone. It's called the O2 recycle phone. Wow, it's made from reclaimed cell phone parts, so it's the I guess it's the Frankenstein of phones. Anyway, and then the Flex and then the flexible phone. We've heard about this for a long time, but I think this will help my adventures with cracked displays quite a bit if we can go this direction. Sure. And lastly, the recycled phone made from recycled materials. Nice. So another green type of phone. Nokia again, Nokia is an interesting company. They just come out with these really kind of innovative, creative things. And I like it.
Very cool.
So anyway, speed round. Let's exit this one.
All right, tip time.
Tip time.
All right, one of my tips of the week is for you people out there. Just a little stress relief, real quick. It is called Blank Windows.
Oh, cool.
We're at blankwindows.com. Let's see. I need to share here. All you do is you get there, and it's a screen full of blank windows. And what you can do is sort of just move them around. And that's kind of all you do over and
oh, my God.
And it's insanely hypnotic. Right? Just waste a bunch of time. Not only that, you could resize these things and make them look however you want. So, this is Blank Windows. Check it out, blankwindows.com. For a little bit of free your mind
or dexterity type of practice that you need.
That's right.
Cool.
All right, what's your tip, Tippo?
Well, for you non-designers out there, I found this thing from Design Taxi, great website. Yoon Sang Wong gave this to us, wow. And Canva obviously did the design on this one, but basically it kind of explains basic design and how it's used in really simple forms in this infographic. So,
very nice.
I think really this is for the non-design people, and it really gave me a better appreciation in really simple terms of how negative space, symmetry, lines, texture kind of works. And I wanted to give you guys that tip because I think we don't appreciate this enough in web design and other design. So, you might be able to learn a couple things and kind of, expand your mind. And that's what we do at Nerd Stalker is expand your mind with tips. So
very cool, man.
Sure. No problem because we believe in design too. Anyway, that's Dropbox. Right. Oh, yeah, I saw that this week. Yeah. Let's talk about Dropbox.
So, I don't know. This wasn't so much of a tip as it is something that I've been using a lot. Is this feature in Dropbox where you can make a page public and actually code, put a code file, an HTML file, for instance, in a particular folder in Dropbox and use it as an actual web page. So you can, code, do your markup and design within Dropbox, put your files in there, and it will display as a website or a web page. And I've done this for sort of prototyping with some other people, as well, and it's been working fantastic, right? So that way, everyone who has a Dropbox, or doesn't even need a Dropbox account, if you have a Dropbox account, you can leverage it as sort of your own host, if you will, right? Because when you view files in Dropbox, you're really just viewing web pages, right? Because all the listing of your files is just a web page. So they're just leveraging that technology to view your source as a web page, and it works fantastic. Well, Dropbox is saying we're killing that feature. So they sent an email saying that feature is going bye-bye. Unfortunately, they're giving us some time. I think it's, I can't remember when exactly, but maybe next year or at some point next year. But it's coming up, so you people probably want to get away from doing that sooner than later. It's an unfortunate thing. You know, you can go find your hosts, your cheap hosts elsewhere. I know there's a ton of them. Just Google that. And it's unfortunate because I know some other startups and stuff were leveraging Dropbox to do just that, to use it, that type of feature as well, to make little web pages and websites via Dropbox. So that HTML view via Dropbox is going bye-bye. So just another sort of tip there to let you know, or warning, if you will.
Nice. I didn't realize you use it that way, and no wonder you're so quick. I just kidding.
Hey, you're paying for it, you know what I mean? You might as well use that feature.
Yeah,
they're taking value away, in my opinion. But
yeah, I could see some bad people using that, but anyway, just
all right,
kidding.
good time. What's that?
Good time. Well, the last one, it's a long Labor Day weekend, and I caught this on O'Reilly's website. They just have 83 free data science books, ebooks, that they've opened up to learn big data. Cool. And data science. So you guys go to our website and check out our article on weekend homework, which is called Jumpstart Your Big Data Career with some free ebooks. Yeah. And, Ben Lorica, the chief data scientist at O'Reilly Media, pitched this to us. And so we're happy to give you all the information here. And, any high to low level on big data market, if you want to just learn about that, and also the AI market for that matter. We were just talking earlier, and they're all free, believe it or not. So, check it out, use it, and
abuse it.
Abuse it.
Use it and abuse it.
You data scientists to be.
Yes.
Abuse it. So
all
anyway.
Right, Greg, where can we get more information about you?
Me? You don't want to know about me, but anyway, yes, my name is Greg Valoria, AK Social Greg on Twitter. You could contact me through socialgreg@nerdsoccer.com, pitch articles, tell me about something you want me to write about. I'll consider it. We're all considerate. Because we're considered guys. But anyway, but if you really, check out our stuff on YouTube. We put a lot up there now, and interviews and some really cool things that we're doing. So check that out. Adolfo's doing a lot of stuff too. So check out a lot of his articles too on our website. So, and like us, hit the subscribe button, do something, something for us. Please.
All right, people. I am Adolfo Fronda again at Nerdstalker on Twitter is where you can find us, at @Fronda Twitter, or as Greg mentioned, all the places. Thanks so much for listening and watching again, and have a wonderful week.
Yep. Be careful out there.
See you guys.